Welcome in, everybody, to part two of episode one of the Pocket Aces podcast. My name is Doug. My man Sean is our co-host. And obviously, picking up where we left off for part one, we're kind of going through our favorite, everything that we like, and some things we don't like about all the casinos in Atlantic City. We are, of course, also touching on casinos that are no longer with us. But we were just discussing Hard Rock at length at the end of part one, since we had the opportunity to be there for episode one, for day one, that the grand opening, first day the place had ever been opened. It's something that we had been talking about for a long time. So let's pick up with right next door. Obviously no longer open as a casino, but a potential to become a casino in the very near future. Let's talk about Showboat, Sean. So let's go into, as the casino back in the day, what are some of your fond memories, things that you liked about that place?
I used to go there all the time when I was a kid. It was one of my family's favorite places to stay, so I got to be a part of it many times. And I remember back in the day, they used to have Mardi Gras parades that would go through the halls, like right next to the casino floor, and they used to have these like decorations set up where like jokers and stuff would pop out at you, not like a scary type of thing,
Yeah.
but like as like a festive thing. I remember before they went under a renovation, they used to have like from what I remember, it was like a cafeteria type place to eat, which was pretty cool. And I remember in the boardwalk entrance, you would, instead of just walking on flat ground where House of Blues was, before that, you would go up kind of like a incline, and there would be like a candy store right there, which was cool. Um, and then where House of Blues was built in that room, it used to be all Mardi Gras like decorations and stuff, and they used to have someone playing on a piano, which was cool. And I had a lot of memories back in there, back in Showboat, and they actually had a bowling alley. I remember playing bowling
Yes,
there once
way
when I was a
back.
kid.
Yes, bowling alley was one of their main features, I would
Hmm.
say.
And actually, they had the French Quarter Buffet, which was actually one of my favorite buffets in AC, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, Caesars Entertainment deciding to close Showboat, I believe in September of 2014. It was profitable, which really made no sense at the time. And I remember having been there, obviously, being 21, I had the opportunity to go there a couple times. My best ever poker session, we were talking about like blackjack sessions and stuff in part one of episode one. My best ever poker session was a 246 limit game that I played there one day. A friend of mine and I, who were kind of doing what I call job number two, back in the day, we would be down there for like a weekend at a time to do job number two, as I like to call it. And we had a little break, like a 3 hour break, and we said, let's go to Showboat. So we went to Showboat, and I went in and I played poker. He played blackjack, and I think in about a 2 hour session, I had and think about it, like it's difficult to make a lot of money. I think I made over $100, and playing limit hold'em, it's 246. It's difficult to make a lot. I think I made over $100. I think like $107 is the number that sticks in my head, and that was profit. I didn't buy in with 100 and make $7. I made $107 on top of, I think it was 100. I think I bought in with 100 and left with 207, which is, I mean, I'm a poker player, but not to say I'm a great poker player. But that is my best, to date, from what I can remember, my best session. Now, obviously, you have the ups and downs, and if you can leave a poker session up $2, that's better than obviously losing a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
that was one of my fondest memories of Showboat. That was actually a poker room that I really liked. I liked the layout of it. I liked where it was located. I went to the House of Blues for a couple different concerts. I might catch some flack for this, but I saw my fondest memory of a concert there was seeing Creed, because Mark Tremonti, the guitar player, I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of Alter Bridge, who three of the four guys in Creed are in Alter Bridge as well. A buddy of mine and I got there early. We were like the second people in the door, the second group of people in the door. I was right on the bar, like front row, basically in front of Mark Tremonti, the guitar player, and he's a big
Wow.
idol of mine. So it was really cool to be right there. So that's one of my fond memories of the House of Blues. Unfortunately, closed. Caesars Entertainment decided we're going to close it, even though it was making a profit. They decided, of the four casinos, Harrah's, Showboat, Bally, Caesars, they decided we're going to close Showboat. to this day, I don't know why. Why not close Bally's? Because then you have Caesars in the middle of the boardwalk, Showboat at the north end of the boardwalk, and then Harrah's on the marina. So to this day, I don't know why they did it. They put a deed restriction on it at the time that did not allow it to be a casino for 10 years. So we are now halfway through that. I believe 2024 will be the end of that deed restriction. Bart Blatstein, a Philadelphia developer, bought it in 2016 and reopened it as a hotel. Mixed reviews about it so far, from what I've heard. People liked some of the rooms, but apparently it's not very busy. And I mean, if you get a room there in February, it's going to sometimes, from what I've heard, it feels like you're the only people there. I think it's a little busier in the summer months because it's a great place for families to stay if you're just going to go out on the beach and stuff because there's no casino. But obviously, just a couple months ago at the beginning of 2019, and I believe we discussed this, Sean, Bart Blatstein was given approval by the Division of Gaming Enforcement for New Jersey to apply for a casino license. So I guess in the state of New Jersey, if you want to apply for a license, you have to get permission to apply for a license before you can do it. He was granted permission to apply for the license, and from what I understand is in the process of doing that. Now, Bart Blatstein, being a successful developer, and obviously, I think some people unfortunately debate his success, but let's be honest, he makes more money than most of us will ever make in a lifetime. And one of the ways he's planning on getting around the deed restriction is actually building the casino next to where the volleyball courts are. Do you know where the volleyball courts are next door? Yep. He's going to take that plot of land, which is separate from Showboat. Showboat did not own that. That is its own parcel of land. He bought that land, and apparently his plan is to build a building there where they will house the casino. So Showboat itself will stay as is, and then they'll open it up somehow to get into that building where the casino will be. It's actually brilliant. And if he has an opportunity to do it, I think he should. I think, and Sean, what would you like to see Showboat become if he has an opportunity to open it as a casino? What would you like to see them do? Change the theme? Is there any type of game that you would like them to have?
Honestly, I don't want them to change anything from what it was before. If anything, I want it to be, just like what it was, reopen the poker room. Actually, speaking of the poker room, just like you said, I had one of my best poker sessions at Showboat. It was actually my 21st birthday, or the week after. I did like a bar crawl with my friends, and I ended up winning like $200 playing like a limit game at Showboat. We were up to like 7 a.m. that morning, and I would just like them to bring back the poker room and reopen the main casino floor and keep the Mardi Gras theme alive.
And that's kind of something that I've said for a long time. I've always been of the belief that if you're going to open Showboat, put in a huge poker room, and now that sports betting is legal in New Jersey, open up, you don't need, I know slots for the casinos are the moneymaker. I think sometimes slots can cost casinos money as well, because if you got someone who hits, if you're a casino that has 6 or 7 jackpots hit in a week, you're going to take a hit. Obviously, it doesn't happen very often, but I've said for a while, reopen Showboat. Don't put slots. Just have a huge poker room. Make it the biggest poker room in Atlantic City. Compete with Borgata. Of course, Borgata is arguably the best poker room on the East Coast, so it would be difficult to do. But I've always said, open it up. Now that have a huge sports betting parlor, and then just kind of go from there. But obviously, we'll see what Blatstein ends up deciding to do. So moving on up the boardwalk to the final casino on the boardwalk, and unfortunately, I think it's the most struggling, if that's the proper English way of saying it. It's the casino that's been hit hardest by tough times in its however many years it's been there since it was built. I guess 7 years now since it was completed in 2012. And that would be what is now called Ocean Resort Casino. Now, a month ago, it was Ocean Casino Resort. Unfortunately, at the beginning of April, a couple weeks before we recorded this episode here, the owner, previous owner, Bruce Dyfik, I believe is how it was pronounced, Dyfik or Dyfik, I'm not quite sure. He unfortunately passed away in a car accident. Some people think that I don't think it's been officially announced yet. Some people believe it was a medical issue that he had that caused the car accident. Apparently, he had fallen on some hard times. Apparently, opening Ocean had really kind of affected him financially. From what I heard, he was selling his multi-million dollar house in Colorado. Apparently, he had fallen on some hard times, so it's really sad to hear that in the end it may have been a medical issue that took his life. Now, some people, when they first announced that he had passed away, before they even mentioned the car accident, some people had thought, myself included, did he have like something? Did he know how much time he had left? Is there a reason? Because like it all happened really quick. He was having issues with Ocean. He sold Ocean, and then they listed his house for sale. So some people thought that maybe he had a medical issue, cancer or something, which maybe he knew how much time he left. So he decided to get rid of these things. Now there's some other rumors as well that the investment firms or whatever that he had partnered with to open it had kind of decided to remove him and his family. But regardless, I know we do want to take a minute to thank Bruce Dyfek for giving Atlantic City the opportunity to have the building open, and obviously taking it off the curmudgeon whose name I will not mention that opened it prior to Bruce Dyfek, who he bought it from. I will not speak that man's name on this show, and quite frankly, I think he needs to leave Atlantic City altogether. Unfortunately, he's still hanging around from what I've been told. So I do obviously want to take an opportunity, because from what I understand, Bruce Dyfek lived in Atlantic City for months at a suite at the Tropicana, I believe, while he was in the process of purchasing not purchasing Atlantic City, that would be impressive, purchasing Ocean. And from what I understand, he had no idea of what he was getting into. He had no ties to Atlantic City. He just decided one day, I'm going to come in, I'm going to buy this big, beautiful building, and I'm going to do with it what I can. So obviously without him, Ocean, I don't think is open. I think it's still sitting dormant right now, because the gentleman who previously owned it before him clearly had no intention to ever open it. So nonetheless, let's talk about it, Sean. We were there opening day for this place as well. Obviously now it's changed a little bit. New logo, new marketing campaign. But nonetheless, what are some of your highlights of Ocean? Because I know we both love it for multiple reasons.
Yeah, it's without doubt probably my favorite casino in AC right now. It's just huge. Everything's spread out, when you walk in, it's not like everything's congested into one area. It's all spread out. In my opinion, they have the nicest sports book in AC.
Oh, hands down.
They have a nice bar like right outside of it, which is cool. They have a lot of restaurants, and they have Wahlburgers now. On my birthday, I got to go there and have a burger. Amazing place, which is cool. They have a taco truck, pizza
Bistrito,
restaurant. Yep. They have like a pizza cafe type thing, a barbecue place. And their casino floor is definitely my favorite in AC too, because it's like everything's spread out. It's huge. They have they don't have like an isolated poker room like the other casinos. Their poker area is actually kind of in built in the casino
dead
floor.
center of the floor in the back. Yeah,
you have slot machines around you, so it's like while you're playing poker, you have the action right there. It's not like you're in a separate room.
So yeah, I mean, definitely one of the things that I like about that as well is the location of the poker room. I don't mind it. I don't think we've both played there. We both sat at a table together and played. I don't mind it. I think we've done it multiple times, right? Because we did it back in the fall when we stayed there with our other two friends. We played, and then we played when they opened as well. So I think that too is one of my favorite things. I thought it would bother me. It really doesn't. You don't get the noise because you're kind of in the back. There's slot machines around you and stuff, but you're still not in the dead center of the floor where all the table games are. So it doesn't bother me as much as I thought it did. One thing that if I were to have any complaints about Ocean would be that I think that poker room needs to expand a little bit. Now, I get it. When they first opened, they just wanted to have poker. There was no poker room on the north end of the boardwalk. If you're on the boardwalk, you need to either go to Bally's or Tropicana. The north part of the boardwalk doesn't have a poker room. What I'll never understand is why Resorts never opened a poker room, considering they are the land-based brick-and-mortar casino for PokerStars. they hosted that PokerStars event there a couple years ago that I went to. You know, Moneymaker was there. Some of the big PokerStars names were there. Of course, I remember you shared it with me. I think I missed Moneymaker being in the room by like 20 minutes. He had to have come in 20 minutes after I left. I didn't get to play, but I was the weirdo that just kind of stood around and watched guys play poker. I know it probably sounds boring, but believe it or not, it's actually fun. I had fun anyway.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I went to Vegas for my brother's wedding a couple years ago, or in 2017, and I was at Rio during, I forget which event it was, of the WSOP.
I think it was the Poker Players Championship.
Yes, it
I
was
think
like
it was, and we'll
right
talk
before the main event started.
Yep.
And I'm standing there because you had told me that Danny Negreanu was in it.
He was in it because I was following it, and
Yeah.
we'll get into in a later episode. I think it's going to be either episode 3 or 4. We're going to heavily focus on the World Series because it's coming up, and I'll without a doubt let you tell the story now and then again because it was so cool. Because I'm the weirdo that follows the World Series on the website. Like I'll watch you can't watch everything on TV. I mean, you can now because they have Poker Go. They have a lot. But I'm the weirdo that sits on my phone and reads updates for the guys that are playing. And I remember telling you, like, yeah, there's like 20 guys left in this event. Negreanu's there.
Yeah.
And you strolled right on in and boom, there he was.
So yeah, I'm standing there and like the I guess what's it called, like a security rope type thing was like
The rail
the
in
rail was
poker,
right in front of me, and they're about to go on break, and Danny stands up, and I was like, yo Danny, and he looks over, and I was like, yo, you think I can get a picture with you? And he was like, yeah, I just gotta go pee pee real quick.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
And he's just such a funny guy, down to earth. And when he came back, I shook his hand, got a picture with him, and it'll be a moment I'll never forget meeting him.
I remember you sent me I said to him, I said, you got to get a picture. And you sent me the picture. And I remember thinking, holy crap, he did it. And I remember, I think you said Helmuth was there too. You couldn't, or he was like doing a book signing or something, right?
Yeah.
But it was after or before you were there. Because
Yeah.
I wanted you to get, I wanted you to try to get me a copy of his book. But I'll just never forget. I don't remember where I was when you sent me that picture, but I'll never forget being like, because I was jealous of the fact that you were going to Vegas during the World Series as it was anyway. But then you send me a picture with my favorite poker player of all time, and I just thought that was really cool. So back on Ocean, one of the big news actually that just recently came out, the Royal Ivan Kane's Royal Jelly, the nightclub, which our one friend very much enjoyed when we were there back in the fall. Ivan Kane's name is coming off of it. It was sold. And Kane, I believe Kane technically he didn't sell it or whatever it was, gave ownership to Ocean's management. So it's going to be called just Royal Jelly, and then Memorial Day weekend. Sean, I don't know if you heard about this. I don't think this was one of the articles that I shared on our Facebook page. They're going to close it, and then Memorial Day weekend, they're going to open it as a speakeasy. Mm-hmm. It's going to be like an old 1920s themed speakeasy. And I will say, we're kind of moving off of Atlantic City for a second. If you're ever in the shore area and you have an opportunity to go to Cape May Distillery in Rio Grande, New Jersey, it is like being in a 1920 speakeasy. They've got a fake fireplace. They've got a radio. They've got like a vinyl record player that plays old-timey songs. It's amazing. And I want to go check this place out. I love cocktails. I love bourbon. So I would love to go check out this place that they're turning into like a speakeasy, because they're going to have music and stuff. It's going to kind of be didn't really read up on it too much if it's going to be like a nightclub. I think it's going to more or less just be another bar. Because I think one of the things that Ocean struggles from is you've got the sports bar at the sports book, you've got the bar upstairs at the hotel lobby level, and then I think that's it. I mean, I know they've got Villain and Saint, which is a bar-type restaurant in the back area where all the restaurants are on the casino level. But I think they could use one more bar, and I think it would just be really awesome. And if we get the opportunity to get down there, I will absolutely report on it in a future episode. But before we move on from Ocean, Sean, I will say, is there anything you think that they need to improve on? Because I do know there's one or two things that I can think of, especially now that they're under new management. Mm-hmm. And from what I understand, based on an article I read by Wayne Perry of the Associated Press today, they're going to turn a profit in the month of May for the first time since they opened. So in 10 months of being open, May is going to be their first profitable month. Is there anything that you can think of that you would change?
The only thing is, like you said, just open like one or two more bars. And then I think
I
it'd be
I
perfect.
think the thing with Ocean is it's so big. There's so many different things that you could do there, and it doesn't even seem like they take up all the space.
Hmm.
I think there's so much empty space there that they really could utilize. If there's anything that I would change, it's marketing. And this is just the marketing slash communications person in me from studying that in school and kind of doing that for a living. Um, they really need to market themselves a little bit better. And I think the issue was under Bruce Dyfek, they had basically it was one man with the help of some backing companies. It's difficult. Like, and we already talked about how supposedly he was losing his fortune by opening this place anyway. Now that Luxor Financial is able, and I don't think they're related to the Luxor in Vegas, I should say. Now with Luxor taking over and overseeing everything, I think they now have that. The other thing I will say is I think they need better comps. I mean, I talked
Yeah.
about resorts offering me free rooms every week, 1 or 2 nights every week. If you're a brand new casino like that, I think you need to give people a reason to get in the door. Now, the biggest complaint about Ocean is there's no buffet. Revel never had a buffet. Ocean was supposed to. It was supposed to open this winter, 2018 into 19. Never did. Supposedly, they're still not going to have a buffet open through this summer, from what I heard. I did read that they are starting to offer things more, but in my opinion, as a brand new casino, Hard Rock's one thing. Hard Rock has the name. You hear Hard Rock and you know what it is. Ocean, I think, needs every excuse to get people in the door. Offer someone like you and me, low rollers, a free night. Maybe not, maybe you can get 2 free nights a month, not 2 free nights every single week of the month. Just like, hey, get a little mailing thing in the mail from your mailbox says 2 free nights this month. Give people a reason to come in. I think that's something that building needs. They need to get people in the door. Offer up, you get a free meal plus whatever at Wahlburgers. If you want to go to Villain and Saint, which is one of the other kind of like gastropub places, 25% off your meal or something like that. Sports book, a coupon for 2 free drinks at the bar if you place a sports bet. Just things like that that can really get people in the door. I mean, you had the opportunity to stay there. I haven't.
Hmm.
What did you like about the room? Because I saw your
Oh,
pictures. It was gorgeous. The
well,
views alone.
no matter what room you stay in there, you're going to get an amazing
Mm.
view because the building is just so high. I remember when I was there, I think I was on the 38th floor, and it was just an amazing view. I actually have some pictures of like my view from the room, and the room itself is it's very modern and updated, and just very relaxed and comfortable.
Was it clean? Because I
Yes.
heard one of the concerns when they opened was that pretty much, and I don't know how true this is. From what I heard, obviously when Revel closed, they just left everything. When Ocean was reopening, they updated some things a little bit, but from what I've been told, it's a lot of the same furniture that was collecting dust for 4 years before it opened. Did it seem clean? Did it feel like a brand new room, or did it feel like a room that had been there for a while?
It
Is what I'm
felt
trying to say.
it felt brand new to me.
Okay.
Everything was pretty clean, well
Cool.
kept.
Cool. So I definitely think like someone like you who stayed there and gambled there a little bit, someone like me who, both of us, we've gambled there. I think they need to give people a reason to come in. Oh, hey, we saw that you ordered 2 concert tickets for whatever Godsmack's going to be there this summer. Hey, we saw that you got 2 tickets for Godsmack. Here's book now and book now and get the room for $99 on a Saturday night. Something like that. Just give people a reason to go there. Because
Hmm.
I think one of the things that Atlantic City really struggles with is you're bringing people in for concerts. And now that Hard Rock's open, you've got Borgata, Hard Rock, Ocean's booking a lot of new, like, major acts now, I should say. I think the casinos really kind of missed the mark. Like with Borgata, you have to buy tickets through their website. So they have access to your information. Shoot me an email and say that on a night that I'm coming to see the show, I can get the room for $99. I would do it because you'd be paying $200 for the room anyway.
Yeah.
Like, offer people that. I know it's different for a place like Hard Rock or Ocean where you got to order the tickets through Ticketmaster. I don't know if they legally could get your information. I don't think I necessarily would want them taking my information, but I think they missed the mark there where you have people coming in for concerts and you're not offering them a reason to stay. Because even me, I'll go down to Borgata and see a show, and I'll say 9 times out of 10 I'm coming home because we live so close. So I will say I'm not staying most of the time, but give me a reason to stay is just kind of the what I would say about Ocean and all the casinos, but especially Ocean being so brand new. But supposedly they are going to start offering more, and in a future episode we're going to actually touch on where both places, Hard Rock and Ocean, are at after 1 year of being open. So, Sean, let's take a turn now into the marina. Let's start with Golden Nugget. That's right there. I've only ever been there once. In the fall of 2017, I did a poker room tour, and one day I played in all poker rooms in Atlantic City. It was just some crazy idea that I had. And I was only there once. I played at the poker room. So I'll let you start. Having been to Golden Nugget, if you've been to Golden Nugget, right? Haven't been?
That's actually the one casino
you
I've
haven't
never
been to. Okay, so I guess I'll just say the poker room was very nice. The one thing I didn't like about it, and apparently they've moved it since I was there, it was nice because you came up the escalator and it was right there. But the one thing I didn't like about it was I felt like I was in a physical room. It was almost like it used to be a restaurant back when it was Trump Marina or whatever, and they just took the door off and then made it a poker room. I don't know. That's the only thing I will say about that. It's a little small, but from what I understand, they really did a nice job when Tillman Fertitta, whatever it was, bought it from Trump Entertainment when it was the Marina. Apparently, they've done a very nice job turning it into the Golden Nugget. So that's really all I'll say because I've never really been there other than that. Mm-hmm. So hopping underneath the connector to Brigantine is Harrah's, and I know you've only been there once, but what did you like about it from your one visit?
Harrah's kind of reminded me when I walked in and saw the casino and everything. It actually kind of reminded me of Showboat a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I actually got to spend some time at this cool bar. I think it was called
Exhibition Bar.
Exhibition
Bar for sure.
Yeah, yes. It was like right on the casino floor. Mm-hmm. It was very nice just sitting there and chilling with a beer. But I didn't actually play there. Actually, you know what? I did play one thing of roulette just to get a chip. But
yes, because we both collect chips, and actually right up here behind me is an aerial view of the Atlantic City skyline and a little thing of all my casino chips that I collect from pretty much every casino I go to, and Sean does this as well. I try to get at least a $1 chip, mm-hmm. if not a $1 and a $5 chip from every casino that I go to, and then I've got like old Showboats, and I've got all kinds of stuff. So I've been to Harrah's a number of times, even going back to when I was a kid. I'll never forget being probably 9 or 10 years old, maybe a little older than that, but I wouldn't say any more than 11 or 12 because it feels like it was that long ago. My dad wanted to play blackjack, and my mom, my younger brother, and I were standing just near him, not even watching, and some old guy, security man guy, comes up and goes, "Gotta keep walking with kids, gotta keep moving." And he goes, "They're not supposed to go off the marble floor." And so of course me being a smart ass at 10, 11 years old, every time we walked, I would take my foot and put it on the carpet. Walk a little bit, put it on the carpet, just to piss off the old guy. I think it's similar nowadays. Obviously, we were just standing still. He goes, you can't stop. You got to keep moving." I think it's a little different now. Of course, now in my older age, I am of the belief that kids maybe shouldn't be in a casino all the time. Now, listen, I'm not the old, not old anyway, but I'm not the guy that thinks you shouldn't have kids in a casino. I mean, the future of casinos relies on those kids whenever they get to 21. So, and I think that's one reason why we like Atlantic City so much is we were going there since we were kids. Mm-hmm. So take kids, introduce them, but of course teach them the right way to do things. Teach them how to be safe when you're in a casino or in Atlantic City. Teach them how to not spend a lot of money when you're down there, because trust me when I say, if I could take some of it back, I'd keep the memories, but I'd try to keep the money too, for sure. So donated a lot of paychecks to those places over the years. So Harrah's, I will say just from my notes, the buffet is great. It's my second favorite buffet in Atlantic City. What I like about it is they offer crab legs. Certain times of the year it comes with your $29.99 charge. Some other times of the year you have to pay extra. It just depends on if the crab leg, like what the demand for crabs, snow crab legs are, snow crabs, I should say. The one thing that they also have that Borgata next door doesn't have is a make your own pasta station, which I think is one of the best parts of that buffet. But that's one of my favorite parts of that place. I love the poker room too. The poker room is tucked back in a corner near McCormick and Schmick's. It's off the casino floor. But what's cool is the last time I was there back during March Madness. Oh no, yeah, it was March Madness, I think. I could actually, while playing poker, because my brother was off playing blackjack, I could hear. Oh no, it actually wasn't. It was back during the NFL playoffs. You could hear I believe it was the game where the Saints guy got in. Was it the Saints? Who got interfered with and they didn't call it? I could hear that reaction in the sports book. It was so cool.
Yeah, the Saints.
Yep, that's what it was. And I'll never forget, I think that's one of the things that makes sports betting in Atlantic City so cool now is I'll never forget sitting in that poker room and people watching the TV and cheering and stuff. And I'm like, this is what this city needed. You needed people to sit here and play poker, but also be invested in games on TV because they just walked up the hallway and bet on it. Mm-hmm. So I will say, hands down, my second favorite poker room in Atlantic City. I think even if Hard Rock opens a poker room, it'll still be my second favorite. The dealers there are really nice. And what's funny is I've been going to Harrah's to play poker since I was 21, so for years now. And it's the same faces that I see dealing. And there are some people who the one guy, I remember his name, I won't say it, just, because I don't want to upset anybody. But there are people that I see have been dealing there for years, and they're just good people. The people in that poker room are good people. I think the one issue with Borgata is you get people who just think they're going to be the next Borgata Poker Open champion or the next World Series of Poker bracelet winner or whatever. I think the thing that I like about Harrah's is it's more of a locals poker room. Mm-hmm. You've got people who are just coming down for the day. Of course, if you get there early enough too, you've got the old guys who are just there in the morning. So it's some easy picking for money as well. So, buffet poker room for Harrah's. They are, as I mentioned in part one, they are dumping money into that place. They're completely redoing the one tower that they just finished. I think Caesars Entertainment is starting to realize that if we have to close buildings and we're going to leave one open, it's going to be Harrah's. Plus, they've got the pool after dark too, which is, I think, their biggest moneymaker in that place. So. Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of big name acts.
Oh yeah, Hodor from Game of Thrones is going to be DJing there, like Memorial Day weekend.
And I think DJ Pauly
D. Yep, there's there. Steve Aoki's there. Listen, I'm not even into that stuff, but like I know who Steve Aoki is because I watched whatever the show on Comedy Central was. Rob Dyrdek's whatever. I forget what that show was called.
Fancy
Ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Steve Aoki's a guest on there a lot, so I know who he is. So, moving on, our final building and one that we may spend a lot of time talking on, Borgata. Hands down, it is the casino in Atlantic City. Some people argue it's the nicest casino on the entire East Coast. I've heard a lot of people say that it's the nicest poker room on the East Coast. I remember watching an episode of Poker After Dark on NBC. Keep in mind, Poker After Dark, these episodes were filmed like 4 years ago. But I was watching it like a couple months ago, and there's an episode where Helmuth, David Williams, and whoever else is playing, I think it was even Mike Matusow, was talking about how they like Borgata. Wow. So, when you have names like that playing at the Borgata, knowing what the Borgata is, a lot of people say it's the nicest poker room on the East Coast. I think the only thing that really competes with it is Foxwoods up north is a competitor. And I think a lot of people will say that the poker room at the Hard Rock in, I believe it's Hollywood, Florida. There might be the one in Tampa, but I think it's the one in Hollywood, Florida is the one. But Florida really isn't the East Coast. Florida's kind of on its own down there anyway. So, Sean, for you, I know you probably have a lot, especially the poker room because we've been there. B-Bar as well.
Yeah.
So some of your highlights on Borgata.
So yeah, I got to go to Borgata once actually with DJ, and yeah, like you said, B-Bar. We were just chilling there, having some cigars, some beers, and it's just so relaxing. It's one of the most relaxing bars I've been to in AC, especially compared to like Mountain Bar, which is like always busy and bustling. B-Bar is like more laid back, and their casino is just like or no, the whole hotel and casino is like so fancy, like how there's the decorations and the marble
Mm.
floors, and it's just like really you know elegant. And I remember they have actually downstairs below the poke room they have this big cafeteria that
Oh
we
yeah,
ate
with
at,
all the different places.
and
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I had a hoagie
we got
down there.
hoagies from the
Yeah,
hoagie place that's right
yeah,
along the wall. That's kind of along where the escalator is.
yeah,
Yes.
and just they have so many options down there. So it's not like you have to be like rich to eat there. Like they have the cafeteria where you can get something quick to eat, and actually I believe they do have more upscale restaurants there
Yes.
too.
Back in January, my fiance and I went to a show that I took her there for her birthday, and then we went to the. Oh my God! It escapes me. Oh my God! The restaurant, the fancy Italian restaurant. I can't believe I don't remember what it is. I'm gonna have to actually look this up. Um, it's the fancy Italian restaurant that's in the back corner, walking past the not the event center, walking past the oh my God, I can't, the music box. I can't for the life of me remember what the place is called because I want to give them a shout here on this. By the way, if you are listening on YouTube or Facebook, wherever it is, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. If you have anything that you like to hear from us in the future, please let us know. If you have anything that you want to comment on, some stuff that we've already talked about, please let us know. Um, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. It starts with an F. It's this is gonna bother me. Um, I almost said Philomena, but that's definitely not it. Um, I believe it starts. Nope, it's I was. It does have INE. It's Angeline. Angeline is Michael Simon's Angeline. It just came to me because I know Philomena. Yeah, it starts with it's Angeline, and it is so nice. First off, I went in and my fiance wanted wine. She got a glass of wine, and then I said, "What kind of bourbon do you have?" Because I was just in a bourbon mood. We were dressed up. We were going to see a show there, and he starts to list off the wine. And he says Woodford Reserve, which I have two bottles of sitting right over there. Just amazing place. I got the meatballs with a side of pasta, four huge meatballs that looked like baseballs. They were so big.
Damn.
Just so delicious. I highly recommend it to anyone. It's Angeline. And of course, the buffet. Have you ever eaten at the buffet at Borgata? Have you ever had an opportunity to do that?
I've heard it's the best.
It is hands
DC.
down the best buffet in Atlantic City. The most the biggest selection. Pricing isn't too bad. I believe it's actually cheaper than Harrah's, and I think that's because they add in the snow crab legs. So Sean, the poker room. I mean, B Bar, of course. I'll say this. I think B Bar is my favorite place in Atlantic City. I just love being in there. And you have the opportunity to sit at the bar, or you can sit at the couches and the tables around. I think my favorite location in Atlantic City is the B Bar because you can sit there. They let you have cigars. You can just chill, have some drinks. The cocktail waitresses will bring a drink to you right there at the table. It's just so amazing, and it is so relaxing too. Borgata, I think, is the most, and you can confirm this. This is what I've heard. I've never been to Vegas. It is the most Vegas-like casino in Atlantic City. You've been to Vegas, so touch on that. Like, having been there, is that an accurate statement? Of all the casinos in Atlantic City, does that one make you feel like you're in Vegas?
Yes, between Borgata and Ocean.
Okay.
I believe Ocean does feel like Vegas a little bit too. Because in Vegas, like their casinos are like just on a bigger scale, more spread out, like more kind of like glitzier and more decorated. So Ocean and Borgata, I can compare to Vegas.
Yeah, and I mean, you stayed. Did you stay at Vidara or Cosmo? At first when you were there.
Cosmopolitan, which actually kind of reminds me of Borgata in a way. Cosmopolitan
It's
is
funny.
like
I was gonna say Ocean because from pictures that I've seen, Cosmopolitan, Vidara, some of the newer places strike me as Borgata too. But I was actually gonna say Ocean just from what they look like, from what I've seen.
Yeah, with Cosmopolitan, it's like a more of a modern day casino with like artwork all over, which is pretty cool from what I remember. Oh, I just lost my train of thought.
Cosmo, and then from there you moved on to
Hard Rock, which is amazing.
Yeah.
The Hard Rock in Vegas is
unaffiliated
so
with
cool.
Hard Rock International.
Yeah.
Totally unrelated, different owners, everything. You wouldn't know but
Mhm.
totally unaffiliated with Hard Rock International. So the only thing I will say about Borgata, having stayed there, rooms are gorgeous, rooms are amazing. The hotel hallways are a little weird. If you're leaving Premier Nightclub at 2 in the morning after having a lot to drink, I'm surprised people can find their way in those hallways. They're dark, and they feel it feels like you're in Alice in Wonderland sometimes. It feels like if you're totally sober at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, it feels like the hallways are leaning. It makes no, and they're so dark, it's bizarre. So like I can imagine 2 a.m. on a Saturday after leaving Premier Nightclub or anything like that. You've got to be loopy in those hallways. And I mean, myself, I'd probably crawl down those hallways. So, but other than that, rooms are gorgeous. Bathrooms are amazing. The best part about the bathrooms are it's 2 double sinks, a big walk-in glass shower, and the toilet's actually on its own. You close the door to be in just the toilet. So, and there's a phone actually in the toilet area too, which is weird. And you could kind of be like, you pick it up like, call the White House, just jokingly. So it's
I guess that way if you get locked in the bathroom.
I guess so.
Hey,
or if something happens, or if you really need toilet paper, you can ask them to bring it up. I guess I don't know. But I think my opinion, nicest rooms in Atlantic City. Maybe we can make that a future topic since we've already kind of touched on all the casinos. Maybe some of our favorite hotel rooms. My opinion, Borgata, nicest rooms in Atlantic City. Biggest rooms, standard rooms, I'd say resorts. But like I said, we can make that another topic since we do have to eventually touch on the Roxy Suite at the Hard Rocks, which we had the Hard Rock, which we had the opportunity to stay at. So to kind of wrap everything up here, the only other thing I would say for Borgata, they could use better breakfast options. Resorts has Dunkin' Donuts, and I think Caesars has a Dunkin' Donuts too. Hard Rock has multiple places that you can go for breakfast. Borgata really doesn't have breakfast options. If you go down to the cafeteria, from what I'm told, 1 or 2 places offer some breakfast stuff, but not a whole lot. Obviously, the buffet has like a breakfast brunch buffet. But if you're just looking for something quick, like you want to get a bagel or something for breakfast, you have to kind of do room service, which I'll never forget. Speaking of the Roxy, I remember Roxy Suite. I remember getting room service ordered at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
That was fun.
I ordered eggs and toast at 1 a.m. and I was totally sober. So anyway, just one suggestion I would make for Borgata, if anything, open up. I know they have a Starbucks, but Starbucks doesn't really offer food. Open up something that can offer a true breakfast that isn't room service. Then again, room service isn't that pricey there anyway. So, but I think personally, let's wrap everything up here, Sean. We've mentioned it. Your favorite, hands down, if someone were to ask you, like I am right now, without thinking about it, favorite casino in Atlantic City.
Favorite casino. Well, I actually have a top 6 list.
Okay.
Start out with Ocean, and then Wild Wild West, Tropicana, Hard Rock, Borgata, and Caesars.
Okay. Very, very solid list. I'm actually, so I know we've talked about it already. I don't want to necessarily try to beat a dead horse, but what about Ocean makes it number 1? I don't know if we got into that. Knowing you have a list, what makes it number 1?
Just, I guess, how huge it is and just how vibrant it is, and a casino, just everything being spread out. And also they have, I forgot to mention, they have actually fire pits outside, which is cool.
Yes.
And off to the side of the lobby, they have pool tables set up. So
did not know that.
So you could play like pool with your friends. And then they have that poker area, which is cool. The sports book. It seems like they have pretty much everything in one, which is cool.
It's like I mentioned with Tropicana. I forgot to mention with Borgata too. It's a place that you don't really have to leave. And I think what's nice about Ocean is they can only add. Like there's just so much more space that they could keep adding stuff to. And supposedly they are From an article I read today, they're going to open a Starbucks there shortly. They're going to open some other retail outlets, maybe a couple extra restaurants and stuff. Supposedly, Mark Wahlberg was going to open a nightclub there too.
I heard
That was
about
the
that.
rumor when they opened, but that obviously has not come to fruition just yet. If you're to ask me, it's tough. I love Borgata, but Borgata is kind of pissing me off with what they're doing to Phil Ivey. So I would have to say, by virtue of the fact that I'm a little perturbed, I love Borgata, love it, love it, love it, love going there, love staying there, but it bothers me a little bit what they're doing with Phil Ivey, trying to go after his assets because he took them for 10 million when they agreed to his terms. You agreed to let a man gamble there under specific terms. He took you for 10 million and now you're trying to fight and get it back. Did he cheat? I love Phil Ivey, so I'm going to say no. But that's another story for another day. So my favorite casino in Atlantic City, I would have to say, is Hard Rock. It's bright, it's vibrant, it's relaxing at the same time. And I just like the fact I also like the fact that it doesn't smell like a casino. Being there opening day was great.
Mhm.
I had never smelled a casino so fresh. I think by now, the last time I was in there back in November, I think it was, the smoke smell starting to come back. But I think they are going to do everything they can with the HVAC system in the building to make sure it doesn't smell, make it feel as new. My only complaint, going back to Hard Rock, and I think this might Borgata might be one, Hard Rock might be 1A. Last time we were there, that lobby bar, which was nice and big when you come down the escalator, they won't let you smoke cigars there. They won't let us sit at one of the tables and have cigars. Whereas B bar, you can do that. So I don't know. I have to say it's a tie between Hard Rock and Borgata. I love Borgata. I love B bar, but they're doing this whole thing with Phil Ivey. I love Hard Rock, but I don't like that at the time. I don't know if it's changed now. You can't have cigars in that lobby bar. So then again, the last time I was there in November, they let me smoke a cigar right at one of the blackjack tables. So I don't know. But anyway, Sean, anything else? Anything before we wrap it up here? The future of Atlantic City? Anything you'd like to see change? Anything you think should stay the same? We're going to talk about Atlantic City every episode, but not a lot. We'll touch on some things if there's any big news that comes out. But obviously our podcast, and by the way, thank you all so much for tuning in if you stuck with us. We're going to talk about Atlantic City every episode, but the podcast isn't going to be based around Atlantic City. We're going to talk gambling news, casino news, if there's anything in Vegas that happens, sports betting, obviously with the NBA and NHL playoffs going on right now. We're going to talk about that in episode 2. World Series of Poker coming up. Survivor we can even talk about. I actually went online last week, Sean, to see if I could start a Survivor pool on DraftKings. Because supposedly in some sports books you can go in and just place a bet for anything. I bet on this to happen. So I wanted to see if I could create a pool on DraftKings to be maybe for next season for Survivor, have everyone chip in. I don't know how legal this is, but I guess if it's on DraftKings, it's legal. Have everyone chip in $5. You pick somebody to win, and then it just goes from there, kind of like you do already. So before we kind of now that we wrap it up, before we end, anything that you want to see in Atlantic City moving forward, anything that you think should happen to try to prolong the success of Atlantic City, because it's clearly on and up. 2017 and 2018 2017 was the first profitable year the city had in a decade, and I think this is the first time since the early 2000s, like 2005 or 2006, the first time that they've posted back-to-back profitable years. So is there anything that you want to see moving forward?
I think there's two things. The former Hilton, there were rumors that it was going to be a water park.
Atlantic Club, yes.
Atlantic Club, yep. And I would like to see that happen because I think it would bring more families down. It would add to the list of activities that families can do. And then the other thing is about 10 years ago, Sands closed and was imploded, and it was going to be another casino, Pinnacle. But they canceled it, and now it's just an empty lot, and I think they should do something there.
I do agree, especially since it is just an empty plot of land. I think the issue that you're going to see in Atlantic City is, look at Hard Rock. Hard Rock dumped $500 million into a place that was already open. Ocean cost $1.2 billion to build, I believe. Now, obviously, if you're going to build on the Sands site, you're not going to build something as big as Ocean. It's just not, or Revel. It's just not going to happen. But $500 million just to update a building and make it seem brand new for a building that's 30 years old, you're talking probably a couple $100 million to almost $1 billion to build something from scratch. I think that's the issue that you would find with building. I think there's so many question marks and so many unknowns, not only in Atlantic City, but with the gambling market in general. The market, the U.S. market as it is, God only knows if we're going to have another recession anytime soon. Obviously, fingers crossed we don't. But one of the reasons why that was canceled, one of the reasons why they were supposed to build a Hard Rock about 10 years ago down where, even past Atlantic Club on Albany Avenue, Hard Rock had actually gotten the approval to build there. Wow. Down where the new Stockton campus is. That fell apart because of the market and the recession in 2008. So there's so many question marks. I think that building from scratch would be an issue. Now, if you were to find somebody, and I've been saying it for a while, before Ocean opened, I said that MGM should buy Revel and open that because MGM already has a property in Borgata. Then you would have a second property in town on the boardwalk. So you've got the marina and the boardwalk. I think it would be good.
I don't know if you remember, but years ago, even before I turned 21, I saw an article saying that where Bader Field is, they were going to build an MGM Grand there. I remember seeing like a picture of it, what it would look like.
Yep.
But that never happened.
Yeah, that was actually something that the guy who owned Ocean previous Revel before it was sold to Bruce Dyfek, supposedly Bader Field was supposed to be really built up. The city bought, and I don't know if they sold the Sandcastle Stadium, the baseball stadium there. Supposedly that was going to be torn down or renovated, and they were going to do that whole area. Obviously, they've got the skate zone there as well, the hockey rink, which is still relatively used quite often, I would say. So I don't know. I mean, I think Atlantic City's fine where it is. Mm-hmm. I think you should tear down Trump Plaza, build on that land. You need to get families in. Because it's very easy for families to go to Brigantine or Margate or, Newport, down in Ocean City and stuff. You need to bring families in. And I think you need to do that with more family-friendly activities. Mm-hmm. I mentioned it a lot, how Tropicana Borgata are a place you don't have to leave. Open a place that you don't have to leave if you're a family. Like, I get it. Some families go to Tropicana, but it's got a casino, and some people don't like that. Open a place, and even if it is at Atlantic Club, open a place that families can go to that they don't have to leave for anything. And I just think that's something that would really help moving forward, especially if Atlantic City is going to survive. And Atlantic City is clearly on the up and up. There was a rumor going around a couple weeks ago that that CRDA, the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority, I believe is what that stands for, was going to place a law that says Atlantic City cannot have any more than this amount of casinos. So, like, totally, for example, from what I read, if they're at 8 now, they would allow 9 total. So if one more opens, no more after that. And I think that wouldn't be a bad thing. I think if you can give Bart Blatstein the opportunity to open Showboat as a casino, leave it. Tear down Trump Plaza, build something up there that connects to the outlets, tear down Atlantic Club, leave the parking garage because supposedly they're going to put the parking garage there because Stockton's right next door. I think, or leave Atlantic Club, but don't allow it to open as a casino. And I think that's something that Atlantic City, I think Atlantic City's good where they are. Mm-hmm. So, thank you all so much for tuning in to episode 1, parts A and B of the Pocket Aces podcast. We hope you enjoyed what you had to hear. Obviously, like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Like us on Facebook at Pocket Aces Podcast on Facebook or at www.facebook.com/Pocket Aces Podcast. In episode 2, we are going to do a preview of the World Series of Poker since we are in May, and I believe we're going to get episode in by the end of the month. So We'll touch on the World Series of Poker. We'll preview some events that we're looking forward to. Obviously, the main event is always fun, but there are a lot of other ones as well. We'll touch on the NHL and NBA playoffs, since they'll probably be in the conference finals by about the time we get there. We'll also touch on our main topic is going to be gambling and casino-related movies. What are our favorite gambling and casino-related movies? So we'll touch all of that on episode 2. Thank you all so much for tuning in. My name's Doug. He is Sean. Thank you so much. This has been the Pocket Aces Podcast. We'll see you next time.